All right? Get up and set them out. Get in there. You don't do that. It's not nice. Go out together. Okay? Yeah, we go out together. Yeah, the little monkeys have struck again. We're gonna wait again. Let the music play. You can comment too, so I know who's here. Let me plug this up as well. That motherfucker, I think, is a Jew training on our soil. Looked at his uniform very well, and it reminds me of the same shit they've been wearing for the longest time. I'm not advocating violence. There's enough on here shown all the time, but they're getting paid for showing it. FedEx just came through. I can't stand, hear about what's going on, beloved. I can't stand mindless individuals. No hate, and I don't beat myself up. And as the young brother said, trip, I don't trip. Why would I have a necessity or need to do what other people do? Oh, what's going on, beloved? I don't get people. You know, they won't allow themselves to learn. I'm in an ever-evolving and learning position, and it's the greatest thing. The problem is the people that don't do it, they can't accept. And those are the ones that want to speak the most. I always say, well, damn, everybody has the ability to create a platform. You know what I mean? Like, create a platform. Hit that like, beloved. And, you know, create a platform. I don't know why people torture themselves. They believe people are supposed to feel the way they feel. That's not how it works. You know, in the military, when I was in there, people get this dark humor. And most people, if they heard some of the dark humor, it would drive them insane, up the wall. And most people can't grasp the reality behind it. Hit that like, guys. Anyway, I'll go over the 178 world thing when we actually cross-mix with it. We're going to get into that part of it right now as far as the commentary and some of the names. We're not going to do 170. I'm not going to sit here and go through 178 names. No. And then maybe you might be able to relate to what's being used in the English language or other languages and be able to ascertain how we're always giving energy to negative things or negating things in a perversion, and we're unaware of it. And the Heaven Bearers is good. And I'm grateful for those people who were here when I read Heaven Bearers before, because when we got to the end, everybody, that's when more people were coming like crazy, like, holy smack, that's how I got most of the people made that 1,000 was when I was reading this, because they were hiding so many of the people coming subscribing. And every day, yo, I subscribe to your channel, beloved, appreciate it. I'm like, nigga, it's been the same for the last 2 months. What do you mean? And I'm getting like 50, 100 people talking about subscribe, bro. Yo, man, keep, you know, and I'm like, I don't see it. But that's how scary and punkish the people behind these platforms are. How scary and punkish, especially in the new generation. Not all of you, but the ones who are governed by these systems, who probably want to chip in their ass and think they're going to get a new lung and a heart and be a machine. You know that movie Nemesis? You know what I'm talking about? When everybody's, you're almost more human, you're almost more machine than human, and all that goofy shit. It will never last. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Snoop, good to have you back. Herb, you hit the like. Oh, yeah, thank you, bro. Thank you. thank you. So we're gonna give it a few more minutes if it's all right with you guys. I know it's a busy day. I know it's still early and 3 hours different from the so-called East Coast. But yeah, hey, what's going on, Lonnie? What's going on, beloved? Tribe up, you already know. So we're going to be getting into hidden lands beyond Antarctica, the continuation of Morris's journey between interconnected planets, Nos Confanum, Claudio Nocelli. When it first came on, I thought I had this on, and I hit because I thought I had hit the witch call, and when I walked away, I had to turn around because I had grabbed my magazines, and it was still Paganini, which I truly enjoy. I enjoy orchestras and violin, flutes. I just love, good music. And most people are like, that's good music. It is. It actually is. And I like the music in the background. It says something. I can actually do a green screen on here. I didn't know that. I was like, what? Especially on my laptop. And I was like, I don't want to do that. This is where I'm at. I always got my wolf over me, the red wolf. I always got him right there. But I'm going to go ahead and shut this off. This is the thing going on with these guys like I was stating on TikTok and stating earlier in the video, they were just ghosting. The live they were ghosting. There's about 5 or 6 these young brothers on TikTok who are talking this Pan-African shit. And the only sources and references that I can find is Alex Haley, Roots, to which my Uncle John Amos and a few other relatives played in. Fake History, Coming to America 1 and 2, and a plethora, Cotton Club, a plethora where they mention this, go back to Africa or out of Africa or something that is a continuation of the conditioning of the melanated folks as if that's the only place we the fuck come from. That is not the old world. If anything, Africa is considered more or less the newer, the younger continent. Oh, it really is. But it's one and the same as Europe here and there. They're actually one and the same. And then from the readings, you would think that we were the youngest. We are not. As far as the wisest, the most creative, we got these people talking about, I love this African dance. Where the women are shaking their ass up and tapping their feet. I already said we have videos in 1920 where brothers were doing that. How can people forget? And then after that, many of them niggas went to Africa. But this is what happens to the miseducated. Lauren Hill, who helped babysit my cousin Jasmine Johanna Wright, Umar Johanna Wright, for those who know, was one of the heads of the Board of Education, always on Channel 13 and 11 and all that news. Married to Lonnie Wright, blah, blah, my uncle, Denver Brown, that miseducation of the Negro. And yeah, we know one of them got locked up for whatever the fuck. If that ain't some more way to lie to people and change the narrative. The thing is, that's their sources and references. And some of them will say different names and shit. You know what I'm saying? Who's the one brother who's still locked up? Or did he get out after being locked up for from the 60s? We know it was wrong. We know it was a lie. Mumbia. Did he get out? Mumbia? Anyway, you was in prison. Besides the delusion and stuff, you would start believing you was out of Africa or somewhere else other than here as well, especially when most brothers and Negroes ain't really come to your rescue, ain't burn the motherfucking building down, ain't assassinate all the motherfuckers and get rid of them. But because nobody knows some of the stuff I'm sharing, you don't get that. You're never going to get that. And then we're talking about it, and brothers and sisters are still sitting by cordial. They're like, letting trifling terrorists, dumbass, who are doing themselves a disservice, continue to do the dumb shit they do out in the streets. Who is he? He don't know. They really believe their authority. What world do you live in where a motherfucker who is less than you believe they have an authority over you, who are dumb as the paint or the tanning or the dye being put on the motherfucking leather of the shoe? That's how dumb they are. No voice other than being slacked on with a sponge and hopefully being buffed and shined and buffed. Sons of bitches are dumb, aren't they? Anyway, let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and get the reading going. They can always come back and watch it later. Most people do. People are pretty busy, and families and all that other stuff. Anyway, so we're going to get into Hidden Lands Beyond Antarctica and a continuation of Morris's journey between interconnected planets. Nos Confundum, which is no confusing, by Claudio Nocelli. And you already know this is the 4th edition. There is supposed to be a 5th one coming out. But don't worry, there's plenty more to read. It's just that there's in the middle, there's a whole lot of what I would say a little alpha and sigma information based on the book. Okay? So chapter 23, the 178 known worlds. Remember we were talking about Hiddink? All right, so let's get into that. Hirdink before leaving again to Cassiopeia lands, or at least that was what he was told. That listen to this, or at least that was what he told us. Gave us several memories to file in our great ancestral library about the other worlds that they had been able to know, and others that they had not entered or perhaps not even navigated closely, but that they had acquired from several other races and from books as old as the beginning of life itself. We in the ancestral lands compiled all this information, and after extensive and arduous work of managing, comparing, and gathering all the works, reports, and texts, we have come to the conclusion that these are all the worlds, the circle environments, that lie beneath the Great Dome, are within the vast and enormous walls that contain and divide the known from the unknown. So let's go through a couple of the names of these worlds, a few. This is, remember, the center of the universe? And it says, remember, people used to always say, you are the center of the universe? Good boy, don't spoil it. And that's us. There's a reason why they call it the ancestral, or the known lands. So first we have ARB 201, the known lands, Earth. 204, Mars. And then we hear these numbers before spoken in William Cooper, laid out like a texagram or anagram based upon what? The fake government. ARB 123, Venus. 013, the Anunnaki lands. 004, Pallades. 206, Saturn. 207. Wouldn't that be the same which card they use when they're talking about their placement? 207, Aldebaran. 208, Angels. 210, Pegasus. Now, remember, in Angels, that's the land occupied by a number of life forms, but two of the greater that live next to each other in war are the ones who have mechanical, who have copied the ones with the flesh wings. And those are the ones who used to visit us long ago, who have been annotated as being these things we consider angels by the narrative painting. Okay? And then you have 032, Cassiopeia. 005, Orion. 003, Jupiter. 412, Hercules. 414, Arcturus. 415, Valk. 416, Betelgeuse. Now you get how the numbers laid out, and it pretty much goes like that organized. So we'll go Sagitta, Sham, Vega, as in Vega system, Sadamlek, Sadotkar, stop, Morfak, Ogol, Menshir, Syria A, Nucleus 270, okay, Altre, Syria or Syria B, Alpha Signa, Enmigo Signa. I had to learn how to pronounce these words too. P Signa, Sadia, Cyclops, Pharaohs, Aljana, Ephriotis, WR142, Hydro, ToLU'S Root, Cloudlands, Nucleus 290, 16 Cygni, or Cygna, Eline, Alberio, Damason, Perse, Atik, Jogontica Tertia, Jogonfa, Quatara, Nucleus 272, Eternal, Mimas, Draco, Delta Tulicair, Querze, Neptune, Lands of Clones, Second Earth. Remember we read about them? Uranus, Leonidas, Titanius as in Leonidas, yes. Tierra CO, Founder Lands, Nucleus 286, compared to 272, yes. I'm not going to pronounce the next one because it fumbles with my tongue. Transmute, Kronos, Pan, Baudelaire, Hill, Tyr, Eduna, Caligula, truthful. The Final Dome, Nibiru, Himdal, Greenstone, Zara, Aquila, Sculptum. Corvus, Planet X, Alginde, Morcab, Helveticus, Inif, Lands of Time, Arcane Islands, Crooks, Frozen Lands, Demerio, Infinite Lands, Beyond Horman, El Tempo de Zeus, the Temple of Zeus. Remember he's Spanish. Celestial Rings, Rost, Mata, Psalm, Shut, Ravitat, on Crater 18, Delta 1, Stephenson 1, Ahrir, Zehlir, Miro Polipitos, Adios Silitio, Artemisia Prebia, Scott Polo Adasiak, Rasbatan, Mercury Maya, Toba Nova Parese Danye, Usajictate, Celestial Lands, Terra Incognita. Lacertides lands, back which we might get it back into an Ahathamatas. Babcock, Backerel, Hydra, Edis, Alkalit, Nucleus 284 compared to 272 and 402. Tanius, Arstadius, Olio, Bol, and it would make you think that many people come from these lands based on the diaspora of all the, whether it be Australians, Sicilians, you get what I'm saying? Danish, down, you know what I mean? Tania Australius, Eola Bol, Lands of the Storms, Eternal Fire, Alcor, Mazar. These are based on the people of the lands. Kohra, Lai, Lands of the Forgotten Humans. Lands of the Forgotten Humans. I remember reading it was only a small paragraph, not even a whole page. Skade, Nucleus 294, Badia C, Nucleus 282, Edere, Picardus, Safu, Shedar, Afrik, Sig. That's enough reading that shit. And there's quite a, there's quite a few more, okay? Anyway, theory-based map of other surrounding domes. And here we get into many different pages and the lands beyond the Great Dome, that there are many, many more, because there is an unknown dome outside of our Great Dome. As far as the dynamics of the written, it's just enough to know that it's all this shit here if it's true. Okay? And the funny thing is, it's not a perfect circle. I mean, would the footstool of the Creator be some perfect circle? Why would it have to be so perfect when everything here was perfect? You dig what I'm saying? So stories of the planet worlds inside the Great Dome. Excuse me. So when we think about ARB 204, the lands of Mars, what we know about their civilization of origin, killed in war against colonizers, it is believed that some of them managed to survive and immigrate from their lands, but there is a lack of information to confirm it. It was believed that the Martians had been annihilated in their entirety, but the most recent theories speak that a not so numerous group could be living on the coasts of nearby lands, and that they had been sighted by several races. They're present. The lands are occupied today by different types of races, including the human race, and that's that BS stem cell. All right, it is a zone of controlled development. There are conflicts and wars of all kinds, and we have information that a part of the human race living there in a large colony migrated to other lands that have visited ours in the past times. Also, some of our navigators have penetrated this passage portal to the interior and have informed us in detail about some of the species that live there. There are lands of constant conflict between many of the races that inhabited there, especially the one coming from the lands of Orion, H1 Orion. And little or no spiritual growth. It is believed that the various races compete with each other in the development of weaponry for defense and attack. No love, embrace, nor want with the will to ascend and leave this life of this diaspora that people consider to be life, which is not living at all. Many humans arrived from the known lands as a reward for betraying their own race. This was happening also during the period that is today the last post-reset. Humanity, as we were able to gather from several navigators who went into the connecting passage between Mars and the second dome lands, we were able to obtain much valuable information regarding how the human colony lives there after years of having left their homelands. All the members who arrived there as a prize did it with absolute happiness, imagining that they would live in a paradise and that they would live 5 times more approximately than their current average life on the known continents because of all the existing polluted and manipulated environment. We could change that overnight. But some of you don't want to spill blood. If you only knew it was at the end of giving it up. But when they arrived, they realized that the custodians had betrayed them in a certain way, and that all their help and betrayal to their brothers had been just another trick that the custodians used to perform. They would manage to live much longer if they survived the many current wars. but they would do it in a really different way than planned or promised. As long as their bodies could be absolutely cleansed of the manipulated. Like, y'all are very toxic. And we all are. Environment of the old and known lands. Although the lands of Mars have paradisical coasts, as well as an incredible variety of flora and fauna, the variety of colors in each landscape is really catching. But the wars that are carried out by the many races that coexist there make of these lands a true hell. Both Captain Hunt and Raoul and so many others who are proudly remembered as examples every day in our lands, since they helped enormously to gather information to understand our environment, told and detailed their experiences in these lands, penetrating the well-known Birds Passage, and all that was also, of course, as proof of fire kept in our memories of the Great Library. Read this paragraph and then we're going to go into the Heaven Bearers. The writings of Captain Hunt are quite consistent with the other accounts. The human colony existing in the misnamed Red Lands began first on the shores of Araya, and then forced by other races, especially the harassment they received from the gray race of Orion, the H1 Orion. Y'all see Paris Hilton's baby? It looked like a fucking gray to me. In conjunction with the Etemans, not donuts, people, the Etemans, from the Draco lands, led the human group to settle on a large island off its shores in Terra Cimmeria. At the beginning, it was hard work to build their bases from scratch again, but they had custodian technology that had been given to them upon entry, in parentheses estates, possibly as a modality for all races in this experiment. So it was not so difficult to make their dome bases operational again. Now the buildings in the Mars lands were dome-shaped, and and it could not be otherwise, since it had been imposed also by the custodians, among many other requirements to live there. Humanity suffered from the beginning, and then it was not so different. The attacks of the Greys and Etemans had ceased in intensity, but not radically. Every now and then they received attacks from the coast, and these missiles impacted near the operational bases and had even affected several domes created by the humans, generating many casualties. One morning the Greys attacked their coast directly and killed more than 100 humans, who were not prepared for a confrontation. It was really a massacre, and this was told by a direct witness in the visit of Captain Hunt. The brave navigator had left our lands in the direction of the ice walls, second dome, in order to face the dreaded Bird Passage. Since it was said that it was a passage portal that was very complex to go through, besides the experience could be really traumatic. I'm going to read this one. I got to read this part. This was not an impediment for Hunt and his crew. In total, there were 8 people who left in a ship in the direction of the membrane portal. And this is not the same shit as what you believe, people. And then to its passage through the Raoul's Ocean in a west-south direction between the lands of Argos, the passage of membrane portal makes you think of Voyage of Sinbad, Argus, right? Crossing the second dome is a very complex sight, since very few the Monitor. The Voyages of Sinbad, the Monitor. How about the Owl? Moloch. Anyway, a very complex site, since very few ancestral explorers have dared to cross it, although the Anakin giants have helped us a lot to get through. The reality is that it is still unstable for us, and we try to avoid it, not only because of its difficulty, but also because of the length of the route. Captain Hunt and his men left armed structures on the shores of Argos, in case they needed to return urgently, as well as to help the next visitors who wanted to risk entering through Bird's portal. I want to keep reading this shit. This is good. It's getting good. Okay, I'm going to read a little more. The ancestral technology could safely detect, or so we assumed at the time, an enemy approach, whether from the Greys, Etemans, or any other race except the custodians. For that reason, it was extremely risky to navigate in those latitudes. In any case, it was a risk we wanted to take if we wanted to bring back information from those lands that could be of great use for the human future. Got the burps. Both within the first and the second dome, mind you. We were not yet aware of how the humans there would react, although we knew about the existence of a colony, and we had contact with a boat that had escaped from there. A possible confrontation against them was totally uncertain. But as we said, we had to try. Since those humans had direct contact with the custodians, and although we had a totally negative view towards them for having betrayed their own race, the information there was as valuable as gold in the known lands. Besides, we wanted to know how they had developed there. If there were still wars, or even worse, if there was still a human being in there. And we'll pick up the next part. That keeps you like, whoa, you know what I mean? Pretty freaking awesome. I've skimmed through a lot of it, and it gets a little more, you know, it's pretty good. It's really good, actually. For those who enjoy. Okay? Let me take some of this. I had the burps and stuff. Heaven Bearers, The Great Reset of 1834 and the Mud Flood by Janine Helen. Remember I showed a picture of her from South Africa? I believe she wrote this when she went to England or somewhere like that and then finished it up. Or she, from what I was reading, she put it together. You know, many writers go to different places to write, to be away from all the noise and distractions. Actually, to be alone and let their mind to dream. Okay? But she did exceptional in this reading. So here we go. Remember the last one, a little upsetting. He walks up behind her and he gives her the business. Okay? Yo, what's going on, Rondo? Who all showed up? What's going on, beloved? What's happening? I got your Herbo. Tariq, what's going on, beloved? What's cracking? What's cracking? Much honor and respect. Mr. C, Anthony Lowe, what's going on? It's good to have you guys here. Number love and respect. All right, so let's go ahead and get the reading so we can get it done. I know some of you are busy and probably get off work and stuff like that. Anyway, so last time you remember she wonders what got into him. Why was he so gentle and kind, only to revert back to his normal cold and grumpy self? You know, he hit the bottom and boom, boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? He lift that skirt up, whomp, 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 whomp. Oh yeah, excuse me, no children allowed. Anyway, she puts on some clothes, grabs an apple and leaves the house. She wants to walk around and look at all the buildings. Perhaps she will find some of the answers to the questions she has herself. She has already seen a few from her neighborhood and the church, but she wonders what other odd buildings are around. Now, you gotta remember the church at this time was established, and they had to mitigate and litigate it to condition the people into another vortex of different religions, okay? She thinks about that big metal thing inside the church. They call it an organ, and it makes a weird sound, but she can't help but think that the organ had a different purpose, and so did the church. It is too big and cold to be a place of worship. As the priest says, the church seems repurposed, almost like they didn't know what it was for and gave it a made-up purpose. No religion. That is what Malcolm said when she was curious about that big gold-colored book in the glass case. Is that why people ask her that weird question? How long has she been a believer for? Anyway, did no one believe in anything in the old world if there was no religion? Then why is there one now? Her mind is racing and she accidentally bumps into a man and falls to the ground. She half catches herself but scrapes her knee on the pavement and cries out, "Ouch! I am sorry, miss. Here, let me help you up." He helps her up and notices the ring on her finger and immediately knows who she is. Malcolm has, in the meantime, given her another ring to wear with a big bluish purple diamond. It is a very rare stone and he wanted her to have it. Sounds like some kind of turquoise, right? She didn't dare say no, although it felt too big for her finger. "Miss Harrington, I beg your pardon. Here, let me walk you home." He tries to lead her away, but she pulls away from him and rubs her hand gently over her grazed knee. "No, I'm quite all right, and thank you." She is annoyed that he knows who she is and carries on walking down the street. "Miss Harrington, please wait. I am very sorry. Can we not mention this to your husband?" Bad motherfucker, huh? Mother trucker, excuse me. His request surprises her and she stops to look at him. He is young, maybe 24 years old, with blonde hair and the same sparkling blue eyes that she has. He has full lips and a kind of smile and extremely rough hands. Who are you? I don't know you, but you seem to know me. Questioning look, mind you. Her expression is cold and stern. Everyone knows who you are. He gives her a shy grin and looks down at the ground. My name is Henry. Remember this name. I work as an engineer down at Old Brooks. That is actually where I'm heading. We need to remove some mud and fix the damage. Mud? She interrupts him and takes a step closer to him. What kind of mud? I mean, from where is this mud? She asks, and she can see he has her full attention. He looks around him to make sure no one is listening to their conversation and leans in close to her. From the old world, Miss Harrington. Her eyes go big and the blue in them sparkles with exhilaration. I'd like to accompany you. Please lead the way. She gestures with her hand. He puts up his hands in protest. I'm afraid you can't. It isn't appropriate. I am sorry, miss. She cuts him off. Fine. Then I shall tell my husband that you pushed me to the ground. Damn if that ain't some Karen move right there. Pushed me to the ground and didn't even help me up. She is posturing and hoping Henry won't call her bluff. Not a word to anyone, you hear me? His voice is firm and his face is stern. She knows he is not joking. They start walking and he explains what he is doing in the area and with the mud flood it affected buildings. We have repaired most of the damage, you know. But these buildings are massive. Some go 20, 30 meters down. 20, 30 meters down into the ground. We built new roads so you wouldn't notice. But what you see is not the whole building. His eyes light up and she realizes he has a passion for discovering these buildings. And it makes her heart swell with excitement. She is in awe with what he tells her, and she realizes she could listen to him talk about this topic for hours, the whole day even. We have even found some skeletons of the old world. People, they were big, much bigger than us. Big enough to pick up a book that is about 1 meter in height, she questions. She interrupts and asks him sarcastically, mind you, but he knows she is serious. She has a fire in her eyes, and he knows he has sparked an interest in her. And she is beautiful. Her skin radiates youth and innocence, and he has to force himself to look away from her. He eventually stops walking and looks at her and gets drawn into her dark blue eyes, so much so that he can't look away this time. Some, yes, others are about double my height or slightly bigger. She hears a banging noise in the distance, and it distracts them both. He carries on walking on ahead and starts to talk as if he is speaking to himself. It makes sense, you know. Why else are the doors so big? From a construction point of view, it makes no sense to build such big doors. But if you are 2 or 3 meters tall, it would make perfect sense. He shows her the building he is currently working on, and he starts telling her all about the work he does. When she notices a man in a black suit and a top hat down the end of the narrow street, he disappears just as quickly as he appeared, and she wonders if she is being followed. Dog, where's this gas coming from? Anyway, she brushes off my apologies. She brushes off the thought, and I'm bored, trust me, y'all, I'm tired. She brushes off the thought and continues to listen to Henry and what he has to say. Fully charged? Awesome. He takes her to the side of the building and bends down and knocks his fist on the glass pane of a window. You see this window? Look at how low it is. Why would someone want to put a window halfway into the ground? Some of you know, you live in Chicago, Detroit, New York, this, that, and others in Jersey like myself. Even in Newark, there were buildings with the windows literally to the so-called basement. Or right there at the friggin' thing. And they put gates and stuff around it, dug down and made it look like a little flowering thing. You can see the ones bricked in where they didn't do that. If any of y'all walk by those buildings and you see that, pay attention. Is the building on a slope? Do some buildings look raised? Or do some buildings look like maybe they should be a little bigger? Pay attention to the simplest things. Excuse me. Look at how low it is. Why would someone want to put a window halfway into the ground? He shakes his head in confusion and disbelief. He is right. She takes a good look and notices that the entire row of windows are half buried into the ground. You see, no one would build like this. It is not practical. Why put a window in at all? He is doing that thing again where he is talking to himself. I have been to all the big cities in Canada, even in New York. It is the same all over. The buildings are buried and we are brought in to make it look as if this is what was intended by the original builders. That is why some of the important men are called Freemasons. They found the buildings, got them for free and claimed to have built them. Get it? He said, y'all know the other book that I have that brings up very good points, which is an excellent source and reference by Howdy McCalskey from 2019 to his newest version. He suddenly shakes his head at what he is saying and then realizes perhaps he has said too much. Look, she places her hand on his arm. I won't say a word. She starts to smile and puts her hand over her mouth to cover just how happy she is. Now that she is finally learning about the new world and what happened all those years ago. Now you know why they call this the new world when it's the oldest of old. What about the church? My husband made a comment that there was no religion in the old world. Henry nods and stares past her into the distance. She knows what he thinks he saw. The man in the top hat. I should go. She turns around to leave, but stops and faces him again. How can I find you again? I work for old Brickz in town. Just ask for me there. Jane, can you please run me a bath? She calls as she enters the mansion, but sees that she is busy preparing a roast for this evening. That is a big roast. Are we expecting company? She asks her jokingly and takes a whiff of the lovely smell that fills the kitchen. Jane looks over at her, surprised. Yes, Miss Harrington, your mother-in-law, father-in-law, and brother-in-law are coming for dinner. They should be here in about 2 hours. Bonnie shakes her head in confusion. Really? Malcolm didn't mention anything to me earlier. She runs her own bath, puts on a nice light blue dress, fixes her hair so that her neck is exposed, just how Malcolm likes it. She finishes up by putting on her shoes and walks downstairs towards the study and knocks loudly on the door. Come in. His voice is deep and he looks like he is deep in thought. That's Malcolm, guys. You didn't mention your family is coming for dinner. In fact, I didn't even know you had a family. Why haven't you mentioned them before? He can hear she is upset and doesn't understand why. They weren't even at our union. She snaps at him and her voice quivers. She's fearful. They don't live in the area, he replies coldly and puts down the document he is holding in his hand. He doesn't know what else to say to her and starts to play with a metal object on his desk. I like your dress. It looks nice on you. Don't worry, he ain't gonna get all saucy and up in her skirt. He replies and gives her a grin. His mind is elsewhere and he is trying to change the subject. This makes her mad, but she knows there is no point in arguing with him. He will just close up and she wants him to be in a good mood for when her in-laws arrive. She gives him a fake smile and leaves the room. We'll get into the next part tomorrow. Oh yeah, it starts to go where it needs to go, guys. And for those who have read it before, if you don't remember where it's going from here, when he meets the missus, the in-law, this is where things start to get a lull. And then the other things with the guy with the long black top hat, that'll come into fruition too. So it starts to really get good. And I appreciate you guys taking the time as I read this. I really do. All right, now I really, really appreciate it. Oh, yeah, man, you had to knock the books over, bruh. Excuse me for 1 minute. You gotta be kidding me, man. You know, I put on some weight, bro, and I got kind of big. Shit. Let me get these up here. Because these are going to be right next. Okay. That goes with that. This goes with all those right there. That's all on American. Negro, the earth being truly a Negro continent, But as far as Tartary and everything else, it's going to be pretty heavy. I'm going to mention something else. Let me see if I can pull it up because my tablet's actually full. I had to change the wire out. I don't know what it was on. I think he's been chewing on it. I hate to see him get electrocuted and be sitting down here like a little afro burnt the fuck up. But you know how things happen. Okay. Let me see. Damn it. Let me see if I can pull it up here. No, that's the lie. So this is what they're going to do. I actually have it up top. I have it. I just wanted to see if it would be here. They lie so fucking much. I won't stop with these fake ass Jews, y'all. Many of them have, many people have stopped being them once they realized, they paid attention, and they got into the little places and realized what was going on. It scared the shit out of them, but them pale skins, the ones who learn, they really don't say nothing. They don't want to be honest here. It's so many fucking lies. Well, I shared the information. I was wondering if any of you might remember it. I'm looking down because I want to see. Because you got to remember that the Jews was supposedly, this is the lie, all right? I think Charles IV and Prague allowed these Zionists to carry the Star of David. That whole narrative is bullshit. I would say that would be 354, which they call 1354. A lie. Consistent fucking lie. Okay? Anything you read on them is straight up fucking lie. Hey, what's going on? Merging timelines. What's going on, beloved? Chatahaya. What's going on, beloved? What's cracking? I've been looking up. Okay, I'm trying to see who else came in so I can say hi. Okay, I got you all. Anything they pull up is going to be a lie. When you want to get to the tetranogram, whatever the fuck they want to call it, I don't like saying the words right. I prefer to say them in a very disgusting way because they have perverted so much, as in to curse it further, because they are lies. Because you got to remember, it was the Zionist movement who are atheists who crowned it the Star of David. You know that, right? That they have a snake skin with all these things, with the what you call it on it, the candles. I'm not saying the names, y'all. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to give the energy. You want to say it and type it, then go ahead. But I'm not going to do it. The manure thing, you know what I'm saying? The Moloch, the two owls facing each other, the headless knight, the fake star thing, as above, as so below, which is supposed to be as above, as below, which is directive, not a following. So as above, so below is a following. As above, as below is order. Anyway, and it has many other things on there, alluding to Moloch, even to the ram with the horns, baffle thing y'all like to say. Y'all throw the words around to because you've learned it, you think it's all right to say it. I'm here to tell you, every time you say these words, you give it energy. Whether in fear or not, it's in ignorance. It's good energy for it. So, seeing how they don't want to put it up here, I'm going to create a post so we can beat this baffling retardedness. Let me see here. But anyway, a lot of y'all, they say Megan and all this other crap, or Mogan. You need to know that is all a lie. Well, it's true to a certain point. Let's see if I can go back. Tartary, not you. Okay. So, y'all will know, for those who get into mysticism, I'm going to advise you to leave it the fuck alone. All right? But when you want to look at what it actually comes from, it comes from the macabre. I don't have no problem saying that because that is stolen. But that is foreign too. It's ancient, but it's foreign. Listen to me. It's ancient, but it's foreign. The macabre. It doesn't have to look the same. It is the same. I'm trying to find it now for those who don't know. Because see, you see it this way. Okay? What you don't see, turn it around. So you see that this way is the same thing. The macabre. Oh dreidel, 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 I made it out of clay. Oh dreidel, dreidel. Okay? Is it celestial? Is it stars pinpointing? You need to look into it, and whatever you find, take everything you find, allow your eyes to open so things stand out. Like when I read, things stand out. Any of y'all ever have that happen? When you're reading, things actually stand out more pronounced than the other words? Yeah, I doubt that. Because the macabre, they activate. How they do that? By stealing identities, stealing narratives, painting pictures, changing history. And I told you, you give me 5 people, I could take over a country. You give me 1 million, and they'll see us coming. Is it something good or bad about it? Well, in mysticism, it is used, and it's their source of energy. Whether you want to get into the soul chariot, and inside that, get where I'm coming from? Even if you flip it over, you know what I'm saying? So, let me see what I found this thing. It's almost like it encases you. I can go on and on about it. I want y'all to do your research and tell me what you find. But it is a lie. It venerates a lie. It has nothing to do with the Ishmaelites. Has nothing to do with the truth of the Hebrew language. Because they don't even speak it. They speak Yiddish, which I read to you. And with sources, references shared, that they finally started finishing up their language, what, 1939, right? Somewhere around that. They're 1939. And like I said, most of those people call themselves Jews over there. They're playing themselves. They're going to exterminate them too. This is how stupid they are. And it's... If this ain't the biggest game, it's like the stuff that I'm reading. I'm going to say, I wonder who's going to wonder this. What if what I'm reading to you is what's actually happening here? We read the land of Mars, women are from Venus, men are from Mars. What's the logistics? And why would people keep betraying themselves if they're going to be sent to Mars to live this perversion over and over and over, regardless of the knowledge they may take with them? Is it something that is ongoing right here? Are all our brothers here? Under the Great Dome, I wouldn't care if they had 18 eyes as our relatives. But under the Great Dome, regardless of, seems to be no situational awareness, regardless of what is happening, what if everybody from every continent on here, on our earth, were brought here to create this infusion of chaos, repeated over and over and over in many places? I'm just hypothetical. I'm just throwing it out there. Okay? Smack it, flip it, rub it down. Who knew? 7 grams. What's going on, beloved? Peace, peace, peace. Tribe up. The Macabre. Let's check this movie out. I'll check that out later, baby. T. Hines, beloved. Ready? Okay. Occult. See, this is what I like. The Headless Horseman. The Headless Knight. The Headless Horseman. And what does that remind you about Jersey, hon? What was the name of that bridge? And even if you go down south, the same one down there. Remember when we were growing up? There's a certain place we couldn't go, y'all. There was an ancient bridge based on old world. That if a certain night you go there, close to the Halloween period, that if you said a certain name and did a certain thing, throwing rocks into the little stream down, that he would appear at the end and come at you. And we had motherfuckers go out there. I wasn't going out there. You know, at that time. Now I go out there and stand out all night. I'd put a fucking cot up under the moonlight, throw rocks in the water and tell them to come the fuck on. They could destroy them when I see them. Tiana, it's good to see you, beloved. No, appreciate you showing up for everybody that comes in. But I hope y'all macabre. Think about it. If you Google it, they're gonna give you a whole bunch of bullshit. This is what they do. You know what I'm saying? And the reality is, a lot of them packed up and left here. Are y'all aware of that? I mean, how many of y'all saw the picture with Henry Kissinger and the so-called president of China? Why is it so hard for people to see what's going on? What boggles my mind, with all these millions of troops, how come they don't turn on these worthless generals and say, not today, motherfuckers? Empty. Void. I think these motherfuckers go to sleep after eating that Chaho shit and start voguing Madonna and shit. Can't make it up, you know what I'm saying? On Grove Street, hun. On Grove Street. I don't think it's there. I think they got rid of it and they filled it in and made a road, right? But there was an old bridge, people. An old bridge, goddamn. The lake and everything, the little river. I don't even think that even runs anymore. And we used to be like, when we was talking about the purple bishop, purple people eater, you know, the purple bishop, there's so much shit. Everything was circled or encased around rapturing you up in fear. A lot of you know many stories. I mean, I would love to have a podcast where we all share all the old stories. You know, we had the one-eyed purple bishop people eater. We had all these different stories. The Candyman, Freddy Krueger, Elm Street. I was in a couple of the scenes for the movie. Shot around the street from Walnut where my uncle lived. We used to go down there and it was like, don't worry, we'll get the classroom scenes. You know, the the kids in school. I was in a couple of those scenes. You know what I'm saying? Walking through my little fucking fro. You know what I'm saying? Couldn't stand fucking school. So I'm being dead serious, y'all. Just like, I come from a place where some of the vilest of fucked up nightmare stories come from. You know what I mean? Real stuff, y'all. You know? And remember, we are Afro orthogonous. Even though some of my hair is a little wavy and straighter, we have different grades, we're still all the same. And we're a very beautiful people. Now people are starting to listen, but the youth who have been raised in ignorance are buying into the lies. That's why I would love for them to come and just expand the horizon and let them dream and think outside the box, because a lot of people are stuck in the box. So reading these, let's say for fantasy purposes, there's a little tactic to it, and it has a little textile. You dig what I'm saying? And I appreciate you guys coming, man. I ain't going on forever and forever, but I'm gonna shut this down and get myself ready for the 3:30 reading, hopefully 3:30, 4 o'clock, so we can get back into George Jones, Ancient Modern Brits, Jews. Anyway, Jews and Muslims in British colonial America. I hate the fact that she put British colonial America, yet the what's called the Revolutionary War and all that was pure bullshit. A complete made up story. Every bit of the Revolutionary War was bullshit. I think I found the story. I'm gonna have to go back in on my laptop. I have to pull it up. I'm gonna have to make sure it's a story or if it's just fiction. Where it talks about how they was it 97 or 1917, during one of the wars, it was still well known about these megalithic statues that were still like in roads and places like that didn't have the 400 feet of water like we do here. Yeah, we are 400 feet water higher, y'all. So we're down 400 fucking feet all around this motherfucker. They blew those things up. And some of them they made what they call lighthouses right out at sea. And they blew up one, and it's still the trunnion of the one where one of the foot stood. Who would build some shit like that facing the ocean as an imitation of protection? I got to go back on, and I know it's up my tab. I got to go through it. And I got to see what I pull up. It might be myth. I don't know. But damn it, it had pictures. God damn it. Because people keep talking about the Statue of Liberty. It was made in France. They made their fake one. It's still over there. I said the black one was over there in California. The one with the sister. That was a real statue, people. The same one's supposed to be in Athens, Greece, just like that. And they keep saying the Statue of Liberty is a female. These motherfuckers are delusional, y'all. That's a nigga got chains on the feet now. That was added in. That is a Starfort, Ellis Island, y'all, and it was bigger. They won't let no divers go around and swim the bottom and look at all the shit down there. Google. I might be wrong. Feels like I'm in Florida. And PA should be in the 50s. Look at that. Yeah, it's hot. It's 90 degrees out this motherfucker. It was 60, 68, and now it's 90s. Man, they doing some shit out here. You dig what I'm saying? Anyway, I just want y'all to go and check it out. I appreciate y'all. Again, it's the same as always. And my beloved sisters, I don't know where Mama Red and all the other ones at. Hope. But if you're in here, I appreciate you. Then the Cure Me put a video up. The Drop or any of those guys. There's only certain people I actually pay attention to and watch. Lex Will put up a couple of good ones. I like the fact that he does like me. He finds books nobody else is going to read. And I like his interpretation. He's sitting there dressed up like Goku, but some of the things that he's wearing is in relationship to Tartary. I believe he might know that too. But other than that, I appreciate you guys coming in again. It's nothing but love and respect, sisters, brothers, and I'll see y'all here roughly about 3:30, 4 o'clock. All right, and we'll continue the show.